Greetings and welcome to Pop Culture Beasts Halloween Horror Picks. I'm your host, Ryan Stockstead, and today's episode is brought to you by Lusty Kitten Productions, the brainchild of Los Angeles and Denver-based burlesque performers Spy Kitten and May Lust. They do fandom events with a lusty twist, celebrating all things geeky while embracing a platform of body positive, sex positive, gender positive, and queer positive inclusivity. They're going to be at Colorado HorrorCon and Halloween Film Festival in Denver, Colorado, producing the VIP horror burlesque show on Halloween night. So be sure to check them out if you're in the area, and definitely be sure to like Lusty Kitten on Facebook and follow them on Instagram and Twitter. Lusty Kitten, fandom events with a lusty twist. Today we're going to talk about a classic horror movie that film historian Steve Haberman ranks among the greatest horror films of the 1940s. The Body Snatcher, 1945. Steve Haberman argues that Boris Karloff gives perhaps the greatest performance of his entire career in this film, and I don't disagree. It stars Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Henry Daniell, and Russell Wade, who also had a large role in an earlier Val Lewton horror classic, 1943's The Ghost Ship. Henry Daniell is particularly good here in one of his larger film roles. You may remember him from The Great Dictator, Witness for the Prosecution, and The Woman in Green, where he plays Professor Moriarty opposite Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes.
Ignorant men have dammed the stream of medical progress with stupid and unjust laws. And if that dam will not break, the men of medicine have to find other courses. You understand me?
The Body Snatcher was stylishly directed by the great Robert Wise and produced by the head of RKO's horror unit, Val Lewton. Lewton labored under 3 rules for RKO. 1, each film had to be made for less than $150,000. 2, each film had to run under 75 minutes. And 3, the film's titles would be assigned to him by his supervisors. Here to talk more about the film with me is a very special guest. She's a filmmaker, the curator of the screening series Basement Shorts, and just generally an all-around horror fan, Elissa Cohn. Thank you so much, Elissa, for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Definitely. So what can you tell us about the movie?
The Body Snatcher is based upon a Robert Louis Stevenson story, which is in turn based upon the infamous Burke and Hare killings of 1828. Burke and Hare refers to a series of sensational murders that were committed in Edinburgh, Scotland between February and October 31st of 1828. William Burke and William Hare were friends who murdered tenants in William Hare's lodging house. They then sold the bodies to Dr. Knox for use in his anatomy lectures. They managed to produce 16 bodies over just 10 months, for which the good doctor paid handsomely. Their modus operandi was to ply their victims with alcohol and then smother the poor unfortunates to death. This became known as burking.
I've had some dealings with MacDonald in the past, you understand. And I've always gotten on with his assistants, providing, of course, they understand my humble position.
Dr. McFarlane said I should pay you.
Of course, that's the soul of the business, the pay.
I should point out that the Anatomy Act of 1832 more or less put an end to the illegal trade of corpses. Before that, only the corpses of executed murderers were allowed for dissection by doctors and medical students. There simply wasn't enough supply to meet the demand, however, and that is the climate in which Burke and Hare practiced their trade.
You know where we get the bodies for dissection?
From the municipal council. They're the bodies of paupers.
That's what the law stipulates. But there aren't enough of them, Fetters. There aren't enough of them.
Okay, Elissa, so we've talked about the history a little bit. Let's get back into the actual movie.
Yeah, okay, so The Body Snatcher is based on the crimes of Burke and Hare, but it's not really a retelling. It takes place several years later, and the characters in the film do know about the crimes. They did happen in this world, and some of them may or may not have been involved.
I'm not afraid. Tell. Shout it from the housetops, but remember this. They hanged Burke, they mobbed Hare, but Dr. Knox is living like a gentleman in London.
Aye. There's something in what you say, Toddy.
There is much in what I say, Gray. And if you've any regard for your neck, you leave now. And stay away from my house, my school, and from me.
Well, I've no wish for a rope cravat. I never liked the smell of hemp, so I'll bid you good night, Dr. McFarlane.
Boris Karloff plays the wicked but sardonic cabman, John Gray, who digs up corpses for the brilliant but arrogant Dr. McFarlane, played by Henry Daniell.
Could you be a doctor, a healing man with the things those eyes have seen? There's a lot of knowledge in those eyes, but no understanding.
Bela Lugosi plays the doctor's dim-witted servant, and he spends much of the movie lurking around the house, eavesdropping.
There's also the young doctor's assistant, the naive and idealistic Donald Fettis, who's played by Russell Wade. His innocence is constantly threatened by the depravity of the events and characters surrounding him in the film.
No.
What do you mean?
I'll have no more to do with it. I'll not put my neck into a noose, not even for your sake, Dr. McFarlane.
Don't be a fool. You can't begin and then stop.
The Body Snatcher is memorable for its atmospheric and stylish scare sequences. The scene where Karloff burks Lugosi is one of horror cinema's most chilling murders.
Tell me plain how they did it.
I'll show you how they did it, Joseph. I'll show you how they burnt them. No! Put your hand down. How can I show you, man? This is how they did it, Joseph.
Over the years, many films have been made about the Burke and Hare crimes, but The Body Snatcher might just be the best. Other notable versions include The Flesh and the Fiends, aka Mania, with Peter Cushing from 1960, and the seriously underrated The Doctor and the Devils from 1985.
You'll never get rid of me, Toddy.
The Body Snatcher is an impeccable and atmospheric horror classic that deserves to be seen. The movie is filled with effective moments that convey terror through atmosphere and shadow rather than graphic images. If you're looking to watch a creepy and effective classic that gets under your skin this Halloween, my recommendation is The Body Snatcher.
Can anyone hear what we say?
Only brother.
I know you kill people to sell bodies.
Say you came here of your own account. No one sent you, no one knows that you were here.
Give me money, or I tell the police you murder the subjects.
The Body Snatcher does not currently seem to be available on Blu-ray, but it has been released a couple times on DVD. The version that we watched for this show is from the Val Lewton Horror Collection, a multiple DVD box set that includes just a whole bunch of really good Val Lewton horror movies, including The Isle of the Dead and Bedlam, I Walked with a Zombie with The Body Snatcher, Cat People and The Curse of the Cat People, which is a really good sequel, The Leopard Man and the Ghost Ship, and The Seventh Victim with Shadows in the Dark, The Val Lewton Legacy, which is a documentary about Val Lewton.
And do you think you're getting rid of me, Toddy?
If you've been watching Halloween Horror Picks, you know that we're doing a special Viewer's Choice episode this season. We've narrowed down your votes and compiled a list with your top 10 horror movies. Go check that out and then vote for any and all that you'd like to see us review. We'll take the highest voted movie and review it in the penultimate episode of Season 2. Before we wrap this up, Elissa, what is your Halloween horror pick this season?
My pick is the classic Japanese ghost story from 1953, Ugetsu. Directed by the great auteur Kenji Mizoguchi, it's a melancholy and tragic tale of two couples caught up in the 16th century civil war. It's an example of jidaigeki, or period drama, with the theme of how war tears people apart, both physically and spiritually. Featuring beautiful cinematography by Kazuo Miyagawa, it draws from traditions of kabuki theater in staging, incorporating imagery drawn from traditional Japanese ghost stories. Ugetsu is currently available on DVD from the Criterion Collection, as well as online at several different streaming sites.
Great pick. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it has. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Pop Culture Beasts Halloween Horror Picks. I'm your host, Ryan Stockstead, with guest host Elissa Cohn. And be sure to like the Halloween Horror Picks Facebook page and subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in October, right here on the Pop Culture Beast YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Watch horror movies. I'll see you next time.